Hello again. Um, I'm back with another, what I would call blindfold composition or composition away from the piano. It's not a composition so much in the sense that I would, try to get this performed. Um, it is a composition in other respects, but it's mostly an exercise in style. Whether I were doing this at the piano or away from the piano, it's definitely that. It's definitely an exercise in style. So I would hope that it actually sounds like the music of Bach. That's what it's sort of trying to emulate. I may actually with the sort of exercises try to branch out and do maybe in the style of Mozart in my head or something like that. The idea being to there's so many ideas wrapped up in this sort of work that it's difficult to say that it serves one or another purpose. But at least one of the ideas behind emulating a style, like I've done here, is in a way to kind of see beyond it. The music of Bach is certainly timeless and just amazing, and there's so much of it. At the same time, it's performed a lot today, but you can't go around writing in the style of Bach and expect people to appreciate you for your own voice. And it sort of baffles me in a way, like if people are still playing the music of Bach, then why can't you write in the style of Bach, if you can do it sufficiently well and get your music played. So I think there are some questions we could ask for sure, on another level, but the aim of this type of work shouldn't be viewed solely from the perspective, for the fact that I'm doing it away from the piano. It's also a stylistic enterprise. So what I've done here, what I decided to do, I actually abandoned the first thing I tried to do today. My first attempt at writing away from the piano. It was far too ambitious, and in a way, the more I push myself with these exercises, the closer I may get to achieving what it is I'm trying to write. That's so ambitious away from the piano, and the ultimate aim of which would be to write very, very efficiently away from the piano. And somehow, some way, when you consider possibilities, like whether they're musical or not, like going to the beach. Yeah, going to the beach would be great. Then you start thinking about like maybe things that might go wrong. You start thinking about, okay, well, and things that might go well. So we do this sort of these cost-benefit analyses, all the time. But just doing it, all I'm doing is with music is I'm doing the same thing. I'm just basically considering things. I'm considering, using a chord progression, considering using this, following up the introduction of the second voice with, while I'm thinking about that, and as I talk about my process here is basically what I'm doing. Well, I think about like what to do right after the second voice comes in. I think about, how jarring will that be to go right into an ascending circle of this progression? Will it work? Will it be convincing? Will it be so sudden that it sounds like a second movement won't sufficiently establish the key? Certainly, we move away from the key pretty quickly here in this exercise. So yeah, this sort of activity, composing away from the piano, um, is not much different than a lot of other things. A lot of people do all the time. Um, like I said, deciding what to buy when you're going grocery shopping. You know what a jar of spaghetti sauce is, just like a trained musician knows what a major chord sounds like, or what it sounds like in first inversion. So when you start putting together your sort of grocery list, for what dish you want to make that night, basically, you just put it together carefully in your mind. You might even write some of it down. In this case, the idea is to in some ways, improve the intuition process as well. You want to, like, I think this will go well together. You think something will go well together, and then you actually try it out and see how it works. In this case, I was happy with a lot of what I did. This was a pretty successful one. Except here, I leapt down from the leading tone and thought that it would resolve in the other voice better. But rather than keeping the old version, I just highlighted it and made a note here. Leaping down from the tonic is better than from the leading tone. So I just made the voice go up to the leading tone. Then everything else. Actually, this was a few hours after I had completed this, which I completed in over an hour. I can't say exactly how long. In an hour and a half, maybe. This initially went to G and then A instead of F sharp and G here, and so it was leaping from a dissonance, but it was already dissonant. It just didn't work as well. It doesn't work as well as this is actually what I had in mind. It's really funny. So and I added this note here. It just sounds like it needs to go to the match the bass pitch there before it goes off on its own to join the other voice. And so those were like I said, things that I thought might sound good, and they ended up not sounding as good as I thought they would. I guess I should say, I met with some fellow composers tonight, and we kind of shared some ideas, and I played this for them. And it's a short excerpt. It's about 50 seconds, 45 seconds. At the same time, it's I don't know. If I had written this much music in my style in an hour, if I had written 50 seconds worth of music in an hour, and a half, I would be really happy. So while I know it's a short excerpt, I can't feel too bad. I push myself. I try to stay focused, and again, what I do is I do all this in my head first. A lot of the time, so like I get into, for example, this ascending fifths sequence here. D, E, A, well, it actually starts back here, sorry. G, A, D, D, E, A, and then E, B, I'm sorry, A, B, E is this ascending fifths sequence. I'll get into that, and I'm not actually like thinking about. If I know that one leg of it works, I don't actually think about all of this. I just go, okay, so I've got the two voices are in, and then I'm going to go into E minor using the circle of fifths sequence, and I can work that out in my head. It goes through these notes. I know I worked out this. I don't have to figure that out until it comes time to make sure that all of the notes in the piece have been decided. I guess that's part of my new procedure. So once I get all the way through to the end of whatever I'm trying to compose, I'll go back and just make sure every single voice is doing something and those notes have been decided, just to kind of shore up the weakness I had in my last attempt at this. So yeah, I mean, some of it is kind of a shorthand, as I'm doing it. I'm not like thinking about, every single note as I go along. I think that would be a little tedious, but maybe with time I'll actually find it easier to do. But for the moment, I find it easier to skip past some of that and make sure to get the overall structure. Oh yeah, one of the other aims for this, for however long the excerpt is that you're composing in your head, is to get some kind of idea about the overall balance of material. How do these sections kind of balance against each other? I'm actually I'm really satisfied with the stuff I come up with this way. I feel like it's a little more organic than the sort of stuff I would come up with at the piano. But I'd like to make the analogy that you know, if chess and music have a lot, and I love chess, by the way. I use analogies back and forth quite a bit. If when you're playing a game of chess and you're sitting at the board and you've got all the pieces in front of you, and you have to decide what the next move is, you can't really see what that position is going to look like. You have to put some faith in that. You've got all the pieces in front of you. You can see them as they are. Now, if you take all the pieces away and you're you know, in the practice of doing blindfold chess, and you have to figure out what the next move is, you're still making these decisions based on some kind of context, whether you can actually, whether your senses are being stimulated by that context, or it's your memory that is providing you that context. You're still making the same sorts of decisions, and I don't think there's anything you know, superior about composing away from the piano. I don't think there's anything superior about composing at the piano necessarily. I do both. But I think, you know, you can get great results both ways. I think the only thing I would say in defense of my efforts, so far as they pertain to my aims as a composer, is that I feel that it's important for me to do this. And if I feel it's important for me to do this, I should do it. And so I do it. I don't think, I mean, I think for others, if they feel it's important, they should. If they don't, haven't given it a second thought, then they really, I don't think there's anything more right or wrong about using a piano. I mean, some that are more purists would say, you know, that you know, unless you compose it in your head first, you know, that it's basically not, you know, composing. But I'm an improviser. I'm an avid improviser. I play a lot, jazz, piano, classical, improv on the piano and on the organ, in sometimes traditional styles like this. So I don't see any. I don't really see any. It all blurs together with me. In fact, in some cases, I feel like this sort of composition exercise really benefits the improvisation more than it does my composing. Because I mean, I'm not going to compose a piece like this and try to play it. I'd be more proud or happy with myself if I improvised a piece like this. So there's definitely some correlations. They cross-pollinate the two skills, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, I'll play it for you. I'll let it go. Here we go. And using for the framework of this trio sonata, I'm using the D minor trio sonata by J.S. Bach, the first movement. So there are a lot of little touches in that I've picked up as I've tried to improvise expositions that are similar to that I've sort of added in here that I could go through and explain, but you know, that's not less the point. I mean, it's more of the stylistic point. Sorry about those pops and clicks. I guess I've got a lot of programs running right now. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm fairly happy with it. I feel like it works pretty well. I'm surprised in some ways by the way things turned out, sometimes pleasantly, and a lot of times, you know, it's sort of problem solving, like in your mind, like, you know, will this work? If you think about it like a cook, you know, will this flavor work with that flavor? You know, and you just kind of know the answer, like that. Those flavors will work together, but you don't. I mean, you don't actually, you know, get the full effect of it until you actually taste it. So there's some interesting moments, like when the two in this sequence here, when the second voice leaps up the octave, that I was really surprised by pleasantly. You know, if it all works, it all works. So there's really no reason to you know, second guess your decisions there based on what effect you think the full effect might be. Nevertheless, I was pleasantly surprised by the full effect there. So, really long monologue. I apologize that really short musical excerpt, but I hope to hear you know, more about this sort of thing from other composers or people interested in visualization and audiation. All right, hope you enjoy, and until next time.